Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Off the Cuff YouTube channel. Thank you to those who've subscribed. I'm hoping that more will subscribe. Please do subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, like. And today we have an exciting guest today. So I'm going to hand over to our actor, comedian supreme, Joey Rasdien.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Denzil Dolley. Hello, Denzil. How are you?
I'm good. You, Joey?
I'm excellent. For the people that don't know who Denzil Dolley is actually, I want to say Denzil Dolley is the first colored guy ever to play for South Africa. Hockey, because you guys know, normally I interviewed cricketers and soccer players. Now we're fortunate enough to also have a guy from Galvindale, grew up in Galvindale, went to Galvindale Primary School, went to St. Thomas High School, and he also represented South Africa at the highest level. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Denzil Dolley. Yesterday, sorry.
It's okay. Got my teeth.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was a technical glitch there. I'm going to do that again.
Thank you, Joey.
The first colored South African.
Wow, Joey, I can't take that accolade. That goes to a very good friend and mentor. Amazing, quickest hands ever in our country and possibly one in the world as well. So that's Alistair Fredericks, all the way from Kimberley, actually. And I think he's probably watching as well. So it's not me, unfortunately.
Fredericks was also from Galvindale. That would have been very quiet. What I was going to say, so you went to Galvindale Primary School, right?
That's correct, Joey. That's where I resided from, the school, the primary school where I started everything.
And your influences there at Galvindale Primary School. Speak about that, people, quickly.
Wow. So very simply, you know, there was a particular Mr. Williams, and he's very well known. He was actually one of my first coaches. And the first thing he actually coached us was cricket, you know, and cricket was the thing that time. But slowly but surely, hockey and all sports started coming in, and we just play everything. If there's another teacher I need to mention, it's probably Mr. who had a massive influence spiritually in my life. And then the late Mr. Rasdien, who was my hockey coach at the time, you know. So I'd have to say Mr. Williams out of was probably, from a coaching point of view, the most influential at the school. Joey, I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. The interesting thing, did you play cricket before, or did you start with hockey initially?
Wow. As far as I know, with sport I played. I had a guy that you'll know very well, Robin Peterson. We started school together. Unfortunately, I failed twice, and I caught up with him. You know, biased out, very, very naughty. But you know, he caught up with me, and we were buddies from sub A all the way through, and we would play any sport. So cricket was the first sport, and then there was a hockey match or game. We played hockey. And then there was soccer, we played soccer. Then there was tennis, we played everything at that school. So to answer your question correctly, cricket probably was the first thing, but hockey already was my passion by then.
Okay, so your surname Dolley is a quite, because I know lots of Dollies that either play soccer or cricket, or that was really good at soccer, like Regan. Regan, is he family of yours?
No, Regan's not any family. I get that question a lot.
And Keegan also?
Of me. I don't actually know him. Keegan, I don't know either. Is Keegan the rugby player or the soccer?
No, he's also a soccer player.
No, I don't know them personally, but
yeah.
from what I've been watching, because I watch sport quite a bit.
So you friends, you were growing up with Robbie P.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're very close friends. I mean, yes, we literally grew up all the way through. We went our different paths when it got to senior school, you know, and you know, and yes, we are still very good friends though.
So you have to get him to do the interview. He's like one of the only guys that I really asked, and he doesn't want to do the interview. I don't know why. I don't know, Mr. Robbie. Is he nervous for the white people? Robbie P, don't be nervous for the
I'm
white
not
people.
sure.
You don't worry.
I,
You know, whatever you're going to say is not going to be controversial. I'll take responsibility for that controversial things. So he's a bit nervous for that, I think. Right, so moving on from your primary school, you went to Galvindale High. And at not Galvindale High, St. Thomas High School. And then in St. Thomas, at St. Thomas, you were with Ashwell Prince, right?
yeah, so I played cricket for the school, and Ashwell was our captain at the time. I probably only played 2 games with him, to be honest with you, you know. And other than that, hockey was my passion by then, by far. I literally just played cricket because I wanted to be doing sport during summer, to be honest with you. Yeah, but hockey was the passion.
Okay, so did you make any schools 11, provincial schools 11 for hockey during that time?
To be honest with you, Joey, I played even under 21s. I always played a B team, always B team. A lot of people would speak about me and the talent that I had, you know, but for somewhat reason, I've always didn't kick it up until late in my life. No, I'm not going to say my life, but around about the age of 22, you know. So I played primary school, sort of known as Sakos days.
Yes, I remember.
Along with Robin and many other talented sportsmen, you know. We played in the junior sort of primary school South African team back then. And other than that, that was the only A team I can think of that I played for. Other than that, it was B team.
Do you remember guys by the name of Justin Rosenberg and Sean Mulligan?
Justin Rosenberg is also a very good pal of mine. We always connect him when he comes down to Joburg. And that's what you get when it comes to the hockey family, Joey. You know, everybody knows each other. Doesn't matter where you're from, especially with college. You know, you're always connected. You know, and I think that's good. But yeah, Justin's doing really well now with his coaching down in Joburg. So you know, I'm really happy for him. So it's fantastic. I do know him very well. Played a bit with him as well.
Oh, and Lance, do you know Lance Lowe?
Lance Lowe, yeah, no, I know. I didn't play with Lance, but I was his coach at the stage, you know. So I was watching him more at international level and then coached him at PHL, etc. You know, that type of thing.
Okay, so and Sean Mulligan, do you remember a guy by the name of Sean Mulligan?
I know his surname, but I don't really know him personally.
Okay, that's for the viewers that don't know, that is the colored guys from Johannesburg that spoke so big about this guy from Galvindale, Denzil Dolley at the time, because I'm a bit older than Denzil, so they were speaking about, yeah, there's this guy, he's from PE, he's Varum, he's gonna play for South Africa and what, and it was Justin Rosenberg and Sean Mulligan that spoke about that. And then Lance Lowe now is the coach at Jeppe High School. And you said you were coaching Lance Lowe during his career. And Jeppe High School is basically one of the best hockey schools in South Africa right now. The reason why I'm saying this is because the school that you went to, St. Thomas High School, produced more, if not a percentage of South African or provincial representatives than Jeppe did. Would you say that if St. Thomas School was a school like Jeppe or KS or like Grey High, St. Thomas would have been much more successful in terms of producing?
Joey, to be honest with you, I mean, I just, if I think about it now, my very good friend Jody Paul was also an Olympian going to Athens with us, and many other top hockey players. And then his brother John Paul was also at St. Thomas, and many other top sporting achievers. And look, it's a little bit tricky, but I would say based on the talent we had at St. Thomas, and the coaching that we had, I would say, in my opinion, by far, I'd like to back us to be really consistent in winning teams during during that era. Actually, to be honest with you, we had top hockey players from St. Thomas.
It's heartbreaking that a school like St. Thomas did not play against a school like Grey, or did not play against a school like Dale, for instance. Because I'm telling you now, I would have put my money on St. Thomas or Galvin High beating Grey and beating Dale. Schools like that in PE.
Yeah.
But let's not get into that. Let's get into the Athens. So you went in 2004 Summer Olympics. You went to the Athens Games, but I don't want you to speak about that yet. I want you to speak about your first World Cup experience in 2002 in Kuala Lumpur. How was that?
Okay, so Kuala Lumpur was probably one of the best tournaments I went to. I've never ever experienced sort of the amount of support we received from a nation like that when we were there. I remember a specific occasion where it's a bit like India when you play in India. And when I went there, we got into our bus for our first game, and it was during traffic time, and literally the bus would ride and the path would just open up, and then we thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be a tough venture for us to go in there. Got into the stadium and there were just thousands of people. We didn't experience that before. But our first World Cup in Kuala Lumpur, what happened then? We were there a few months earlier at the Champs Challenge.
Yeah, and you ended second. Who was the team that beat? So prior to the World Cup in 2002, in 2001, you guys also went to Kuala Lumpur for a challenge, the Champions Challenge, and you guys ended second. Who was the team that beat you in the final?
It was India. India was, they were one of the top teams in the world at the time. And it was a tough tournament because we had teams like New Zealand was there, England was there. It was top class teams that we beat, and we felt really confident leaving KL that year, that they actually, maybe we can break that sort of world number 10 sort of mark that we were trying to aim at going in the next couple of years forward. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm not going to say we were confident going there to go win a medal in the World Cup, but we thought, oh my goodness, we competed at a very high level, and we caused many teams a lot of trouble. So, we felt really confident, and it was quite a young side as well that went. I was quite new in the side, and quite a few other youngsters. I remember Clyde Abrams was there as well, who's from P and was at Gowndale Primary School, so the stage. So we all went there together, and it was a great experience, so yeah, I think that is good for us.
Well, so we're gonna come back to those achievements. I think at the time was Rob Pullen your captain?
No, he was our coach, Joey. Rob Pullen was my coach at the time.
I'll tell you a story about Rob Pullen. He is now the sports director of the school that my daughter goes to. I'm not going to tell you the school's name, but my daughter is at the same school where Rob Pullen is now sports director. So growing up, I'm going to get back to how you guys in that World Cup, you ended 13th, and in the next year, the same year, you guys almost won a medal at the Commonwealth Games, and that must have been disappointing. But when you were growing up in Galvindale, specifically basically at St. Thomas also, I want to understand how you guys overcame certain obstacles that was presented in PE, in Galvindale, in places like Selsonyville, in places like Bettelsdorp and Katanga. How did you overcome those things, and what was it? How did you choose not to get involved in the other things that was happening at the time?
Joey, I've been listening to all the other interviews you had with Ashwell and Elvira and all those other guys and Kaylin as well. But if I can just kind of form a picture for you and let you know, for example, what would happen on a Wednesday evening when we go into training. So literally, I grew up in Stincote Street, which is very close to Chapman, where Russell and all those other guys were at, and Warren Adams and Leroy Newton them. And basically what happened was, for training, we'd walk all the way down. We'll stop over at Cheslin Gee's house, who's the assistant coach of the national men's side at the moment. You know, we then go all the way down to Galvindale and we're training, you know. And exactly the same thing happened when we moved to Steenbok Street in Galvindale. You know, the guys would come, some of them would meet at my house, they jump over the walls and we're running down to training, okay, because we want to train. So that was sort of the same thing over again for every training. For me, what was really, that I think is a common thread for me, in terms of what I've seen, was that on a Sunday morning, as much as we wanted to be on the hockey field or the sports field, whether it's Ashwell or Leroy or all those other Bradley, then those guys, the common thread is that our parents wanted us to be in church on a Sunday morning. But they didn't know, lo and behold, we'd go to church, right? Including Garnet, he knows that because his mum was my sort of church leader, you know. And under my church clothes, mum didn't know that, hey, I got my hockey kit under that. And as soon as she goes into the service, you know, we turning around by the other door and we're running down to the hockey field. But a common thread is faith in that community, you know, in particularly the local church. And I feel that sort of founded the foundation for us in terms of values. And then also we had parents, you know, and then we also had uncles. I'm not sure if you know, but I grew up without a dad at a very young age. My mom was a single parent with 5 kids, you know, but there was always either uncle, example, my uncle Gary Dolley, he was always taking us down to the hockey field, you know. Go for it, Joey.
So Gary Dolley is now the chairperson of Galvindale Cricket Club. That Gary Dolley.
Yeah, that's right.
So he was your uncle.
Yes.
For the people that don't know, he was mentioning names. Leroy Newton was a South African Olympian that did triple jump. Kyle Kruger, I did an interview with him. He's also going to be uploaded very soon. Ashwell Prince, I'm gonna try and get Cheslin Gee as well. Just to sum this up, for me, is that you guys had this understanding, like Elvira Peterson was also speaking about how his mother was also a single mother, and how the community and the uncles came together to try and show some sort of example. Want ons almal was stout. Everybody was naughty, but it seems to me that you guys had this thing called reverse peer pressure. So it was peer pressure, but it was good peer pressure, if that makes sense. So just continue and how you guys used to go to the church with your clothing underneath. Just continue from there, because that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Joey, to be honest with you, I wasn't really into church as a youngster. I am now, you know, it's the work that I do. But, you know, if I look back and I think about church and family and values, you know, and I'm not only speaking about church, I'm thinking about the Abrams family, you know, would be in mosque every, you know, on Friday, etc., you know, but there was a simple sort of values in place. We knew we couldn't go over that, but we also knew we needed to work really hard, okay, to take that next step forward, you know, in terms of success, you know. So if I think about family, Joey, I think about my mom, you know, I also think about my uncles, but in particular, I think about my brother, because in Stinkoot Street, my brother, my late brother now, he was actually the one that really sharpened my skills in a sense, because every day after school, he was at Chapman. Every day after school, we'd have tennis set in the street, or we play one-on-one hockey, or we play cricket, you know, whatever it is. Or Russell is at Chapman, he's calling everybody over, we're playing down in the Chapman yard, cricket versus each other, etc. You know, and the same thing at Zimdal Street, Rowan Crescent, all those places. I think about what the guys mentioned. I was part of that, you know, playing cricket, soccer, everything in the street. And I think that's what's missing right now. So in the end, it comes around to that word community, you know, and we certainly were unified as a community, because I can tell you now, if I have to put one foot wrong, there's going to be a neighbor, there's going to be an auntie, there's going to be an uncle, and like you mentioned, even like a Mr. Simon that you're always mentioning, he'll be there, you know, or, you know, and I have people like that in my life. I can particularly think about Auntie Alma, for example. I can walk into a house anytime, and she don't even live in Galvindale, you know, and I know where the teas, all those things, but they made me feel at home, you know. I think about Uncle Cedric, who was also father figure to me, along with my uncles and all the other people, you know. We had, especially men, for me, in my opinion, who led really well in those times. And it was turbulent times. I can think about it. It wasn't easy for a lot of us, you know, and I'm really thankful for that. And I believe it's something we're missing in our communities at the moment, you know, men that are standing up. You know, there's a particular story, Joe, that
Tell us that story.
I think it's important.
Before you tell us that story, you were speaking about how you involved right now and how you appreciated the role models and the guys that you met lane gebring. So if you go out of a certain line and in these guys, Strong Oaks family community brought you back to this line. And you are busy with an organization now called as was Aslan Hope, so was it fertilized out of your thinking that there's not enough role models in our specific communities?
Joey, so basically what happened with Aslan is I left PE, you know, thanks to a guy down in England, in Kent. They phoned me on the Wednesday, and I left on the Friday. And basically what happened there was I ended up getting a contract with this club, you know, and I realized that part of the common thread that I think you're looking for with all of these sportsmen and women is passion. And I can think of all of them who were really great at different sports, but there was a passion for a particular sport that they absolutely loved, you know. Sport is something that kept them off, you know, sort of becoming a gangster or taking a drug, because we still had our friends and they were still doing some of the naughty things, you know, drinking too much and stuff like that. And that passion to me was the important thing for Aslan. I then lived in England for 11 years, but before I came back over to Cape Town, what happened was, I don't know why, but I was offered another contract at Holcombe Hockey Club. And for some odd reason, I just had this whisper, and it wasn't an audible voice, it was a whisper saying, I need you back in church on a Sunday. I was like, whoa, but I'm just going to sign a contract. And basically what happened is I didn't sign the contract. You know, I started thinking about my life going forward. And I got married in 2008, and I thought everything was going to go great. And even in that year, my brother was murdered. You know, so it was a tough time. And then it was that time when I told my brother, I'm not going to be going ahead with the contract. And he just went, you know, what, are you crazy? Why feel this golf? But you know, I feel I need to be in church. But basically, my point is that ever since I made that decision, it brought me to the decision of Aslan. And Aslan was birthed out of sport, that's my passion, and Christ, that's my passion. And I'm like, what's my other passion? You know, my other passion is the flag behind me, South Africa. You know, I'm British now as well, and that's great and everything. And I'm thankful for the, you know, for the Brits, and I love them to bits. They know that they still support us, you know. But South Africa was my passion, and I'm always grateful for the guy, for the men and women who invested in my life, you know. And it's, I guess I'm, you know, I kind of want to be that role model, and sometimes I fail at it still, you know, because our flesh is so weak, you know, but we try, like those men and women tried for us. And I think that's one of the important ingredients, that we are so thankful. And I'm sure Ashwell and Robin and Jody and Leo and all those other guys are thankful for guys like that and women like that in their sporting lives. So Aslan is what it is at the moment.
There's one common thread also, in all of you guys, is that you have this ability to take a stumbling block and make it a stepping stone. You have this ability to overcome disappointment so easily. I want to know, and nobody's answered me to my satisfaction. I want to know, what is that ingrained ingredient in you guys that you have, where you overcome these disappointments and you use it as a stone instead of a stumbling block? What is that? You spoke about passion. You spoke about your moral fiber and stuff. In your observations, what is that?
I think the fear was the fear of not being successful, to be honest. Everybody put me on a pedestal at times, and I was like, oh my goodness, these people think I'll play for South Africa sometime or be successful, where I had, and there were one or two teachers that maybe said you can't and all that, but I had more of the positive stuff. Being successful at something and saying, oh no, you're stupid, you know, you're not educated enough and all these things. And for me, that was something that really drove me. In fact, it became even harder for me as a Dolley, you know, and the Dollies were known for their cricket and their hockey and their sport in the communities in PE. But at the time when the Olympic team was about to be announced, what a lot of people don't know is that one of my uncles were on that selection panel. So it was really hard for me, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But then what happened was, about a month or two before that, I wasn't announced in any of the squads. I was told the reason why, and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. And I felt I was doing quite well. In fact, that was the time when I was the player of the tournament at the national tournament, and it was a tricky time, you know, and I didn't want to fail, to be honest with you. I had a goal.
The reason why you weren't selected was because you were colored. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's just call a spade a spade. That's my opinion, and that is my observation, because there was still racism, and it was subconscious. It wasn't in your face, but it was subconscious. Hy kom van Galvindale, hy's nie goed genoeg nie. In the meantime, you went to the World Cup in Kuala Lumpur. You went to the games in Manchester, and you almost won a medal at the Commonwealth Games. You won silver medal at the All Africa Games in 2003, and then you went to the Summer Olympics, and you guys were in the top 10. And then after that, you went to the World Cup in 2006 as well. What I get here is that the fear of failure was bigger than the fear of a knife, of a gun. That's what I get from you as a person. Your fear to much bigger than any fear. God's fear, and I see you you quite in your religion. So coming back, so that was you, and you built on it. Now I want you to speak about your experiences at the Commonwealth Games, at the All Africa Games, at the Olympics, and at the World Cup.
Well, Joey, to let you know that the All Africa Games, that's actually the one that eluded me, to be honest with you. I didn't get to the All Africa Games, you know. But what I can say is, thankfully, I have a very good friend in Reese Passon who sort of my friend, and he went, you know, and I was really grateful that he was there and experienced that. But I had to have a mind change, because I had a goal in mind. I had to make a decision whether I want to either train really hard to reach my goal in becoming an Olympian, you know, or finish your education. You know, it was a tough one. It was a real tough one. I chose obviously the sporting route, you know, because at the time UPE couldn't afford to have me fully, you know, and that's a decision I made. I'm thankful for the decision I made, you know, and moving on, I made the World Cup squad, which was great, you know. I started becoming more and more part of that and getting more of the experience, and it was a great experience in Kuala Lumpur, probably one of the best. Then we in 2002 we then were selected to go to Commonwealth Games in Manchester, and obviously we're all Manchester United supporters, the greatest team in the world. Sorry guys, you don't have to comment, but it's
no. I'm actually after this, I'm actually having a discussion with Dylan Oliphant on Instagram with regards to, because I'm a Tottenham Hotspur supporter.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, continue. It's fine. Continue.
No, you know, and you know, Commonwealth Games was. I mean, I'm so passionate about the fact that we can medal at an Olympics. And seeing it in Manchester that we were this close to getting at least a bronze or silver, you know, it was a tough semi-final that we played. I think we played New Zealand. It was Australia. They gave us not a hiding, but it was a close call, you know. And then we played Pakistan in the bronze medal match, and on the day, gave them a better go, you know. But we tried. We did the best we could. But to be honest with you, when we headed to Athens, you know, and this is my opinion, and I've heard the opinions of quite a few of the players that I played with, you know, but there was one particular game we only needed to win, you know, but we were more focused on the disappointment of losing to Holland 2-1 when we were 1-0 up and we got, in my opinion, cheated out of the game, you know, that we didn't focus on the main game that should have been the main game. That's New Zealand, you know. That game hit us so hard, and we won the New Zealand game, you know, which is a game that we saw. It's a game we can win, you know. And unfortunately, we lost that game. I think we lost it 4-2. We just didn't rock up that day. New Zealand wanted it probably a bit more, or maybe we're just disappointed on the result. But we win that game that we've never ever done before, you know. I'm grateful because I had my girlfriend in Athens as well. It was nice to have her there and share that moment with her. Unfortunately, I couldn't have my mom there, you know, or my brothers and sisters, that type of thing. Certainly is something that I played over and over again in my head. Waking up, doesn't matter what time of the morning it is, meeting my friend Jody and Chris and Clyde and all those guys, even though some of them didn't make that original squad, meeting them early, training hard, you know, as a group. It was just fantastic, and that made us stronger, you know. We didn't think about the fact that, oh, it might be because of my color, that's how I was dropped. Oh, it must be because, oh, Reese went here, all these things. I just had to get that out of my head because I heard so much about it. All I wanted to know was, give me the reason why I was a, whatever that is. Okay, now I know what it is. Thank you very much. And I needed to tick those boxes, you know, and I had to give him the best chance, you know, that let me tick the boxes I can, you know, and leave the rest up to God. But I did the best I can, and I believe God honored that, and I'm glad to be there on merit. And, you know, I'm just glad I'm able to experience that, because now I can mentor other young people, you know, and all young people actually. So, yeah.
Yes, Denzil, Dolley, this was a great interview, my guy. The problem is it's going to be finished now. I wanted to touch on this thing that you said you were vulnerable speaking about. And I know your brother, he got killed. And I'm not going to go into that, but yeah, I know if you just people from Galvindale and from all areas that is basically in hardship, especially now with the COVID-19 in hardship. Just leave us with something.
Joey, I think it's a tough one because I'm quite an emotional guy, you know, in a sense, because I mean, I had so many people that invested in my life, you know. I had my mother that would do everything she can, if there's one thing I can take from my mom, you know, as she was working on all those things, my mom was a person who would serve people in that community wherever she was. Even if she's walking all the way down to, from Kudu Street all the way down to, I don't know, to the track, wherever it is, she would serve a community, you know. And then I think about all these other amazing men and women as well, you know, they've invested in me, you know, whether it's Auntie Uncle Sedo, Uncle Gary, or Mr. Williams, or Mrs. Hafke, whatever.
For our viewers, can you just you said you were vulnerable, you don't want to speak about that, and if you're still uncomfortable not speaking about it, that's fine, but I would love to end off with that. And if you cry, you cry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's there's just so many moments that as sportsmen and women that we face, you know, and I'm sure many of the others can agree with me on this, you know. I'll never forget messaging my brother the Thursday of April in 2008, you know. It was on the 23rd that I messaged him. So my wife and I were coming back home to share with the family that, you know, we've got a girl on the way, you know, type of things. And basically what happened was he messages me back, you know, and he obviously is a Liverpool fan, and he tells me, don't forget. I said, cool, I love you, catch you later. I then get a phone call at 3:56 in the morning on the Saturday morning, and we were due to leave on the Monday back to Port Elizabeth. And the first thing my sister Lucille says, so I had both the twin sisters, Lucille and Lucinda, on the phone. And her words was very simple: Denzil, can you just get on your knees quickly? Let's pray quickly. And she prays this prayer, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's happening here? Anyway, then she shares with me that my brother was murdered. And I was like, no, but I just spoke to him the other day. How do you mean, what happened? And I didn't know how to deal with that, to be honest with you. That's the one thing I didn't know how to deal with. All I knew was that I'm the big brother now, and I need to go bury my brother, something that I didn't, you know, plan for, you know. So what I'm trying to say is in this message is that regardless of where you are in life, you know, life is going to throw you something that you can't deal with. And what's really important is that you deal with things, in my opinion, you know, not but just always following your emotions, but trying to lead it as best as you can, because there are other people watching you all the time. But I couldn't hold it down. I remember on the morning of the funeral, I was trying to be strong, and I just rode from my mother-in-law's house all the way to Galvindale, and I just couldn't stop weeping, you know. But my point is that doesn't matter what life throws you, you know, we always have a choice to make. And we always got people around us who absolutely loves us, cares for us. And the most important people, in my opinion, are the men in our communities, you know, and how they lead. You know, I'm not seeing that really, honestly, from my opinion, I'm not seeing that anymore in our communities. And I'm thankful for the men that we had. I mean, our house was full. We had many people there, you know, and I'm just thankful for that. So in closing, you know, what's really important is understanding for me that obedience was really important to me in that time, and not success, because I really believe success is not my part. I've seen it now, that I leave that up to God, you know, because the moment I focus on success, I'm thinking about self, I'm thinking about myself, and that's not what people taught me. You know, that's not what Auntie Almo, Uncle Gary, or Mr. Williams, or Mrs. Hafke taught me, or my mom taught me. It's about others. It's about serving others. You know, so it's about dying to self, and I'm just thankful I had the people in my life at the time to help me go through it, and most importantly, I had my wife there with me. You know, Leanne, and you know, I can't honor enough, you know, and thank enough, because she's been with me since the age of 16. So So please don't give up on your dreams. Please don't give up on your dreams. I can tell you now, it's very possible. If you sat between friends and they're busy doing the wrong thing, take a step and get out of that call, get out of that group and show them how to lead, and we have leaders in our community. So I guess I'm speaking to the men, and I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong, guys. Even up until now, I fail, but there's loads of grace available for you, and you can become all that God has made you to be, whether it's sport, whether it's business, whether it doesn't matter, music, you name it, whether it's a comedian, you can do this. So thank you, Joey. I just want to honor you and thank you for giving us your time. Thank you so much. You mentioned that you were a single dad, and I want to honor you for that. I saw your daughter running in there at the one interview. So thank you so much. No, it wasn't tonight. It was the other night with Caleb. Okay. And I just want to honor you as well, and your team for making this platform available.
Thank you, Denzil. That was a very important message. My mother always used to say, you must do what you do because you want to do it, and you must do it with enjoyment, and that enjoyment should be your reward. Anything else will be a bonus if you are not rude, if you stay kind, and so there's certain things that you just brought out there. The one thing, and I want to leave the viewers with this as well, is that what Denzil was actually speaking about was that there was strength in a community like Galvindale, and that automatically produced people like Denzil Dolley, like Leroy Newton, like Ashwell Prince, like Alviro Peterson, like all those people, like Mr. Simon that you're speaking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a brilliant interview. Thank you. I don't think it's going to go so deep, but I am absolutely honored and glad stories with us here tonight. And don't forget to click like, to click subscribe, and if you like this video, please send us comments, and we will get those comments to Denzil as well. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. God bless you guys, and hope you Mr. Bennett, I'll be seeing your brother soon down at Marty's. Hey?
Yeah,
we'll see.
But what's name? Just in conclusion, guys, thank you so much. I think the interview was great. I think you guys share a tragedy. I think that's what made a great connection between the two of you. But I think, Denzil, your story is one of perseverance, determination, faith. And for that determination, perseverance, faith, you've been to 2 World Cups, you're an Olympian, you're a Commonwealth Games athlete. You played a massive role in making Eastern Province dominated South African hockey while you were playing. We won IPT after IPT with you playing. You were fast, you were skillful, quick hands, inside pull, and we used to call you Denzil neck brace Dolley because guys used to have to play with the neck brace after they play you. Yeah. But really, really great story, guys. Great.
Thank you so much for the kind words.
Listening to it. Thank you so much. To the Off the Cuff subscribers, please like this, please share it. Those who aren't subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Short, Denzil. Sure.
Audio Jungle.